Court rules second extension of DPP's tenure unconstitutional. The Constitutional Court has ruled that the second extension of Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn's tenure in office is unconstitutional. The ruling was handed down Friday morning at the Supreme Court in downtown Kingston. Government last year controversially amended the Constitution to increase the age at which the DPP should proceed on retirement from 60 to 65. The opposition's People's National Party in a lawsuit challenged the extension, which had followed a previous 3-year extension in 2020 when Llewellyn turned 60. In the lawsuit filed in the Supreme Court, the claimant, Member of Parliament Philip Powell and Senator Peter Bunting, sought a declaration that Llewellyn should not be allowed to remain in office beyond September 2023 when the 2020 extension ended. The ruling therefore means that the DPP has to demit office with immediate effect. King's Counsel Michael Hilton, the representative for the claimant, said they are pleased with the ruling. The case is not about Ms. Llewellyn. It's not about how she did her duties. It's not even really about the extension. The case is about the rule of law, about establishing a principle that the same laws apply to everybody and that the Constitution needs to be respected, Hilton told journalists. Meanwhile, Powell said if the government had respected the opposition, we wouldn't have this unfortunate situation where a public servant is being embarrassed. This matter could have been dealt with by a conversation between the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, which is what the Constitution requires, he said. I believe the judgment was a good one. Government to appeal Constitutional Court ruling against DPP's extension. The Minister of Justice says the government will be appealing the court ruling against the extension of Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Paula Llewellyn's tenure in office. Jamaica's Constitutional Court ruled on Friday that the extension is unlawful. In a statement, the Justice Ministry stated, "The government of Jamaica does not agree with this part of the ruling of the Constitutional Court and will instruct its attorneys to ask for a stay of execution and immediately appeal the ruling." The ministry also said the government took note that the court at the time ruled that the act extending the retirement age of the DPP from 60 to 65 is constitutional. Government last year controversially amended the Constitution to increase the age at which the DPP should proceed on retirement from 60 to 65.
The government of Jamaica takes note of the decision of the Constitutional Court in the case of Philip Powell and the Attorney General of Jamaica, that the act extending the retirement age of the DPP from age 60 to 65 is constitutional. The government, however, takes note that the application of the Director of Public Prosecutions to extend her tenure provided under the Act to age 65 has been ruled unlawful. The government of Jamaica does not agree with this part of the ruling of the Constitutional Court and will instruct its attorneys to ask for a stay of execution and immediately appeal the ruling.
Llewellyn is no longer DPP, insists Golding. Opposition leader Mark Golding insisted Friday that the post of the Director of Public Prosecutions DPP is vacant and urged the Services Commission to move swiftly in recommending someone to act in the position. Golding was speaking at a press conference at the People's National Party headquarters in Kingston following the Supreme Court's ruling that the second extension of DPP Paula Llewellyn's tenure in office is unconstitutional. The legal advice that we have received is that this is a declaratory judgment that the Constitutional Court has made and there is no jurisdiction to grant a stay of a declaratory judgment. You can appeal it, but it stands as a declaration of what the law is unless and until a higher court says otherwise. Our position is that Ms. Llewellyn is no longer the DPP and has in fact not been the DPP since her 63rd birthday in September last year, Golding noted. He noted that a provision covers the ruling she has made to date, but said that since the ruling has not been made, she can no longer perform functions as a DPP and a new DPP should be appointed. Shortly after the ruling, Minister of Justice Delroy Chalk said the government would be making an appeal. However, the opposition leader maintains that Llewellyn must go to the interim.
This is a declaratory judgment that the Constitutional Court, has been made, and there's no jurisdiction to grant a stay of a declaratory judgment. You can appeal it, but it stands as a declaration of what the law is, unless and until a higher court rules otherwise. So our position is that the DPP, or Ms. Llewellyn, is no longer the DPP, and has in fact not been the DPP since her 63rd birthday, September last year. There is a provision in the Constitution, I think it's section 96, subsection 2, that would validate her acts as DPP between then and now. But now that the ruling has been made, she can no longer hold herself out or perform functions as a DPP. A new DPP should be appointed in accordance with the procedures which have been established for that, and somebody needs to be appointed to act as DPP in the interim. I would say that what should happen is that the Services Commission should recommend to the Governor General quickly to appoint somebody to act as DPP. And that's quite normal, happens frequently when an incumbent DPP has to go on leave or whatever. That should be applied and done quickly. And I think that in light of today's ruling, Ms. Llewellyn ought to stand down and should, not seek to make an effort to continue to hold that office. It's highly undesirable that there should be continuing uncertainty in the DPP's office. Indeed, that uncertainty has existed from the legislation was brought to Parliament in July last year, and we pointed out why we thought it was invalid and unconstitutional, and the court has approved that and has upheld the submissions to that effect. And obviously, any continuing uncertainty is highly undesirable. The court system must continue to function. There are many, many cases in the system that need to be dealt with in accordance with proper procedures and due alacrity. And that is why I think that it's important that the Services Commission and the Governor General quickly appoint somebody to act. And they're very capable persons within the DPP's office, senior prosecutors who can act competently.
Schoolboy taken into custody for alleged murder of schoolmate. The police in St. James have revealed that they now have in custody a 13-year-old Irwin High School student in relation to the murder of 15-year-old Ranil Plummer. The alleged assailant was handed over to the police by his parents and is now being questioned on the matter. It is expected that charges will be laid soon. Plummer, who also attended Irwin High, was stabbed to death on Thursday after he had exited the school grounds. As a aspirant footballer, Plummer received a single stab wound to the chest and was rushed to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Police urged St. James students to find non-violent ways to resolve conflicts. Following the arrest of a 14-year-old student who was implicated in the stabbing death of a fellow schoolmate at the Irwin High School in St. James on Thursday, police in the area are urging students to find non-violent ways to resolve conflicts. Speaking with reporters after the alleged attacker was taken into custody by his parents on Friday afternoon, Acting Senior Superintendent of Police Aaron Samuels said that a Safe Schools task force has been set up in the hopes of combating the uptick in school violence within the division. A Safe Schools task force has been set up by members of the JCF and is joined by members of the Ministry of Education, principals, guidance counselors, and other stakeholders to ensure that we deal with the issues of violence within schools, he noted. In recent times, we have seen where there has been a lot of violence within schools, not just in the St. James Division, but across the country. But for persons within the St. James Division, we're urging you to really just ease down on the violence because we want you to recognize that all the issues you are having can be resolved, stated SSP Samuels. He went on to encourage students to think about the consequences resorting to violence can have on their future. There is nothing that we can't sit down and have a discussion and reason about. We want to urge you to just be careful and look at the implications that situations like this can have on your future, and we want peace to reign within the schools so you guys can have a great future ahead for you, he noted. Mobile Chamber wants reintroduction of police on bicycles in Resort City. President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Oral Heaven, is calling for the reinstatement of a bicycle patrol to increase the police presence in the tourism mecca of Montego Bay. This is the tourism capital of the Caribbean. Therefore, the reinstatement of bicycle patrols can significantly improve visibility, accessibility, and community engagement. Therefore, we are advocating for the reintroduction of bicycles for patrolling to enhance police presence in key tourist areas. Also, resources and traffic personnel have been appealed. Additionally, the President wants the expansion of the police quick response motorcycle team in St. James. We request the allocation of additional quick resource response to ensure timely intervention and effective crisis management in our parish, have been urged. He was speaking at the MBCCI's monthly meeting in Montego Bay on Wednesday evening. Acting Senior Superintendent of Police, SSP Aaron Samuels, was in attendance at the meeting. He recently took over as the commander of the St. James Police Division from SSP Vernon Ellis. SSP Samuels promised members of the business community to perpetuate Ellis' work. One thing that I can tell you is that we stand committed to do the work that was done before by SSP Ellis. Having been there for 2 years working with him, now I understand a lot of the different strategies that were used, and I pledge to continue to ensure that we keep those crime reductions going, he stated. We want to show you that as a division we are capable and able to continue to make this parish one of the safest ones that we have in the country, he added. Following the meeting, the MBCCI and the Chinese community of St. James hosted a welcome cocktail for SSP Samuels. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.